Hi everyone, welcome to Stuart's Kitchen again. So today I thought I would talk about curry. We're going to make your own curry from all the individual spices. But before we start, I want to make sure that if you're going to make curry, close all your doors, your bathroom, bedrooms, and all those doors because this is going to infuse your house as you roast your seeds. Let's start with the equipment. Have a nice skillet. Don't use non-stick because it's just going to be too high of a heat when we roast the seeds. You need a good size mortar pestle. Like before I said, this is 16 centimeters, maybe 6 inches. That's a really nice average size for the house for all kinds of crushing, because it is expensive. A nice investment piece. Get a nice skillet, a nice large skillet. This thing here, what we're cooking in, is called a tagine. Many years ago, it was a trendy thing to have. So it's say a North African Arabic sort of cooking vessel, ceramic. So the principle is that evaporation goes up and it condenses and it goes back down to your dish, so your dish doesn't dry out. And it doesn't take much liquid for to cook in here because the way it moves of the moisture around from your food. So very interesting dish to use. Okay, in terms of what we're doing today, we're using lamb. A braising cut, a stewing cut, however you'd like to call it. Lamb and curry is like the best thing together ever. Just the gaminess of lamb. And depending where you get your lamb from, some farmers have a stronger tasting lamb, some are lighter flavor, so depending on your source. Lamb, and this is good because the gaminess, and back in the day when there wasn't refrigeration, probably in those foreign countries, they use all this spice to hide some of these flavors. If you've been to some of the markets in Africa, like I have, Burkina Faso, Togo, Tanzania, been to Kenya, Syria, Jordan, open markets, you'll know what it's like. You know the meat just by what the head is hanging on the door there, like the cow. It's a meat shop for cows, or a goat market or whatever. So you know what the meat is. So that's why I think that's how it came about. So curry is probably a British word that came up when they couldn't describe all this spice they put together, because curry is not a word for India, in India. Anyway, so we're gonna go with one more ingredient. And you're gonna use about a dozen apricots, dried apricots. This isn't orange because this is organic. It's not treated, so that's why it's not looking that bright orange you see all the time. This is Majul dates, the Egyptian one. Just split it open a little bit. Pop the seed out so you don't crunch on it later. And I'm just keeping it in halves there. So they're gonna cook down later. But fruit and dried fruit with lamb and spice, it's just so good, so good. Other ingredients we're gonna use, the vegetables will be very chunky yam. I don't like sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes tends to taste a little bit different, so I prefer yam. A good 1-inch chunks. I happen to have purple onion. You can use white, whatever, and I got diced celery there. So very basic in terms of that, because the star flavor is going to be lamb. Okay, now I'm going to read the spices, guys. There's so much. I don't normally do this to read it out, but because videoing the film, I'm just going to read out what I have here. So half a teaspoon of fenugreek, very interesting looking seed. Cardamom, very small seed, intensely aromatic. You can taste it through the whole dish, even though you're using maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon of cardamom. Coriander, you've heard of. 2 tablespoons, very large seeds, so you can use more of it because it's just light seeds. Cumin, half a teaspoon cumin. A teaspoon of fennel, very licoricey, that adds later. A teaspoon of that. 1/4 teaspoon of chili flakes, and with the seed and all, which is going to be crushed. To me, the dish is not about the heat, it's about the flavor. So you could always kick it up later if you feel like having a real hot curry, which to me is not the thing. Black pepper, easy, 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Mustard seed, 1/4 teaspoon. Fine seeds, very earthy, very interesting seed. Allspice, somewhere back here. Allspice here. Very interesting large seed like that. That's what an allspice looks like, depending on the size of your seed. I'm going to use 4, I think I'll use 5 here. 5 small average ones. Very aromatic, like the cardamom. So you don't need much of it because it really perfumes the whole thing really, really well. Last, cinnamon and turmeric. Cinnamon, don't grind your own. Too much work. This is gonna be a half a teaspoon. Turmeric, I'm going to be using one teaspoon, around 1 teaspoon. But turmeric, be careful because extremely staining spice. So don't get it on anything because you're gonna be swearing away because you can't get this off you. That's why I wear this also. If you eliminated some of the trickier spices like fenugreek, cardamom, coriander, fennel, mustard seed, and allspice, you might get your basic curry out there. And if you have your basic curry spices and use more turmeric, you can end up with that typical yellow curry that's a lot of times called madras. It's very common because there's a lot of mustard in it. So this is what it looks like. I've got it measured out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11 for later on. We're going to swish it around on the hot stove. We're going to roast this till it smokes a little, which is why you don't want this pan to be a non-stick because you're just going to ruin it. Okay, well, I'll get to that. I'm going to cut the film. So here we are on a high heat. You gotta watch this very carefully because you want to see it smoking, but not to burn because it goes fast. I'll keep it on there, stir it around. I can see it almost smoking. See it there? Whoops. I turn it down slightly, but the main thing is watch that heat and watch it. You can see it just smoking a little bit. And also, you can hear a snap, crackle, pop. Those seeds are bursting and the oils are coming out. I'm not sure we can see that on the film. Let's see. I think you might be able to see that. And you might be able to hear the crackling. I'll go a little more. I don't want it too burnt. The pan's really hot, so I'm going to be really careful here. That's all I'm going to do. It's getting too hot. I can tell by watching the seeds getting dark. Turn that off. Keep on stirring. A nice pan that allows you to circulate is really nice. A nice saucepan. I think it's just about done. Wait a little more. This is where it starts infusing the house. That's why I wear this. I think I mentioned before about this uniform. They tend to. Oh, this is the part. This is what that kills you. The smoke. It'll make you cough. These uniforms, they tend to make them big. I'm actually wearing extra small, which I know I'm not an extra small person, but they fit big. I guess because you have people wear a lot of stuff underneath it. I don't. I like to wear just the t-shirt. So I had to buy an extra small because it fits nicer on me. So I'm going to pour it in here. Let it cool off. I'm cheating a little there. We're going to cool this off, and we're going to grind it down. So I have to see it in this bowl because that's deep. I'm going to shake it around. Very intense. That cools it down really fast, or faster if you're in a hurry. So shake it in there. It smells really nice. It doesn't smell like your typical curry because it doesn't have the turmeric, which is what you're used to smelling. So you're going to press around the sides. Watch this pop out. Very tricky. Just slowly crushing, rocking back and forth with your wrist, and then break it down. Keep on doing this, rocking it. And I'm going to cut the video again. So I only took a few minutes off just to crush it down a little more. But you eventually go in a circle, constantly going up the sides a little to bring it back down. You just keep on going. Whatever falls in the middle is what you're crushing. All the heavy bits goes down, falls to the center. And you go in a circle. Try not to miss. Missed a bit there. So if you're very sensitive, this will get to your nose real fast. So you might want to hold your breath a little sometimes. Try not to breathe with your nose because it goes up your nose and it'll make you cough. Crush it fine as you can. I'm pressing pretty hard here. Shake like that. Take it down. So this curry right now is not yellow like you're used to. Very spicy, very earthy looking. So now I'll add the cinnamon and turmeric. So here we go. I think I'm going to start with only half a teaspoon of cinnamon. The cinnamon can be very intense. It changes the flavor completely. Turmeric is right here. Careful. I'm going 1 teaspoon to start and see how it looks. Turmeric is very woody and has that really interesting flavor. Okay, let's see what happens here. I'm going to add another teaspoon of the turmeric, I think, just because, like I say, every time you make this, it's different. Every flavor is different. The basic is pretty close, but I know it's slightly different from every time I make this. So that's that. There's no salt. I'll salt my food later on. It doesn't need salt. So basically that's it there. Nice stir. This makes quite a bit. So what I've done is I made up these little packets of pockets that I'm going to store it in. About that big of a sheet. Like that. Fold in half. Fold in half. A third and a third. That way. Crease it nice. And then tuck one side in. Hang on. Tuck in like that, and then find the opening for the pocket, which is the last one. That's where the pocket is. This happens to be your silicone paper, parchment paper. And so I'm going to put in 1 good tablespoon. That one. And have a second one here. Because this is about 3 meals, roughly. See what's left here? That's just over another tablespoon. So I'm going to use maybe another half in here. Maybe a teaspoon. And now a teaspoon in this one, roughly. And the rest, it's about the same as what I put in those little bags. I think this one a little bit more. Then this, you fold over nicely, and you're going to store it in a glass jar. So it holds the flavors, and it holds for a very long time. And the parchment itself holds it really well too, so it doesn't get all messy. So that's what that does. Or you have two more dishes to make out of this. You know, if you want to waste it on cauliflower, you can, you know, for the vegetarians, cauliflower and curry is like the made in heaven. Really nice. But for this tonight, it's so fresh, lamb's the way to go. So I cut the video. Okay, here we are again. So I'm going to just put up some black pepper, some seasoning on my meat, a few cracks of that. Salt, always good, seasoned really well. I'm going to mix it around with my hands anyways. Good mix with the hands. This is about, I think it was 2 pounds, or what is it, 800 grams, or whatever that is. It's a hot pan. Let's put some oil in here. Enough to coat the bottom. Drop in the meat. Let the meat really brown before you start playing with it. Yeah, pretty good. Tastes really nice. I have it on a fairly high heat because, as I said before, these glass top stoves, they don't always get hot enough for me. So just be careful. Quick stir, brown it over. Just to brown for some flavor in the meat itself. You don't have to completely brown everything. Just a good starter. Let that sit. Maximum heat here for sure. Let it go. So I'm going to continue this for the next one. So here is the second half of the meat that I just did. I just turned it. After I turned it, I added the curry on top, and then sort of this way, we're going to roast some of the oils of the spice that brings up the flavor. So that's what I've done now. So once this is brown, we'll put it into the tagine. I'll turn the fan off so we can hear better. It's almost done. They're not completely brown, but it just brings up some color and the oils from the spice. There it is there. I'll toss that into the tagine. A lot of brown bits there. I'm going to toss in the onions and celery. Just break it down a little bit. Add a little bit of oil maybe. And I do have this on maximum heat just because. I've added a little water into my mortar so that it can bring out the rest of the curry. From there, I think I add some liquid into here. It'll soften the onions a little. And it'll also deglaze the bottom. In fact, let's add the whole thing. So at this point, your house smells like curry. Can't help it. I'm coughing because it's so intense. There. Now I've deglazed the bottom, which is what I wanted to do. I don't want to waste all that good stuff on the bottom of your pan. There, see, it's all really nice come up from the bottom. Nothing wasted. I'll cook it a little more. We're not going to forget the dates. Okay, there we go. Let's put it into here. Let's turn this off. So far, I have not added any liquid into here, but now I will add a little. It's probably about a cup at the very most. I want to deglaze a little more here, just it got stuck a little. And it also heats up the water a little too. So while that's happening, let's tuck in, now let's do this part first. Drop all that in there, poke it in, tuck all the yams in here. Kind of piles up. I might stir it later on after an hour or so. I'll probably stir it or something. Check on it. This is quite full actually. A little more than I want. A little more than I want maybe. But it'll cook down. So let's salt it a little bit, season the yams a little. And this is heated up now, residual heat. Put that in there. And at the bottom here, I can see it just covers it. Maybe a good quarter of the bottom. I might put in just a little more. I gotta be careful you don't put too much, otherwise it's just like too watery. There, about half, not even half. That's good for now. I'll test it out later, because as I said, this tagine, it works. Oh, that is very full. So make sure, get it closer to the center. Very full. As it cooks, it's going to go down a little, but I did slightly overload it, I'd say. They're not bad. They say you could actually use the tagine on the stove element, but I prefer to use it in the oven just for the all-around heat. So I'm going to put this in the oven for at least an hour at 300 degrees, and I'll check it after an hour, maybe do another half to another full hour completely. So it could be a completely 2 hours by the time we're done with this. So here it goes. Cut the video. So here we are after about 1 hour. Took it out. Steam away from you, make sure. Test it out a little. Let's check this out. It's still a little firm. It's not bad actually. But I'm going to add a slurry of cornstarch and water. Probably about a tablespoon of cornstarch to maybe a half a cup of water, a third cup of water. Make sure you make a slurry out of it before you add it to that, because I want the sauce to be a little thicker. What I should have done is probably floured my lamb before as I browned it. But either way, I just want a thicker sauce in the end. I'll pour this through. Slowly stir it through. Hopefully it'll stir up a little there. Tuck it in. A little bit of a stir. This might take care of the thickening later. That's the goal anyways. I don't want to over disturb it because it'll get too messy if I try to disturb the whole thing, I think. So I think we'll see what happens in the end. Cooking is an experiment. You just go with it as you go. A bit of knowledge, a bit of experimenting, and we shall see. I'm going to put it back in the oven for probably 40 minutes, and we'll go from there. Okie dokie. So here we are. Probably 40 minutes, 45 minutes after the first checking, and look at that. It was quite full and it kind of splattered a bit, so it can get a little messy because there's a lot of liquid from the vegetables and the meat actually, so it really worked out pretty nice. And it's very tender. The cornstarch actually worked, nice and thick. The meat is super tender meat down there. So that's how it looks. This place smells so good. A little spicy, but not overly done. I'm just doing some vegetable here for the rest of the meal. Super hot. Bit of oil. Probably a teaspoon. Key to stir fry is having a really hot pan. Tip it to the side first. Spread it right away. Don't let this sit too long because it'll seize on your pan, which is what happens to some people, and they'll kind of wonder why. So right away, put in the mushrooms, onion first. Spread the oil around. I like the mushrooms on the bottom so they can really brown a little, get really hot. So I like to cut sides down because I want the mushroom to really cook. Super hot. I put this. I'm having beans tonight. Very easy. The rest of it goes on top. So the key thing is get everything hot in here before I add a bit of water. So you don't see this. I'm just going to let it sit for maybe a minute or so. This is like so good. The chili isn't too overly powering, so that's what I like about it. You can taste all the flavor of the curry. There's a little sweetness to it from the cardamom and the probably a bit of the allspice, but it really comes through nice. This is starting to heat up a little, you can tell. Because the pan is so hot, that should have burned off real quick there, so that's what I'm hoping for. look. Super hot. Add a bit of butter, about a teaspoon of butter. Always salt your vegetables. It brings out the color. Looks like a lot, but it really isn't a lot here. Small hole. Let that really sizzle, see it brown a little. Turn it. Turn. Turn. Flip. Turn. All the mushrooms turned over. Now the beans are on the bottom a little bit. I'm going to let that get really, really hot again. Almost to the point of burning, but you want a really intense heat on the vegetables so they're all the same temperature. You can hear it going really well. Getting good and hot. Lots of steam, which is what I want. Really sizzle. I want to really get hot. Almost evaporated. And then add the water. Hear that sizzle? So that steam is and water is gonna really cook the vegetables. Steam is hotter than boiling water, as you remember from science, I guess. So I'm gonna let that cook out, and it'll evaporate, and I'm gonna plate it up. So there we have it, my lamb curry tagine with my stir-fried vegetables, beans and such, and brown rice. So it's a nice meal, completely yum. And also, you can tell, Pie Day Friday, I've got that going because I made a pie between the times and all the other prep stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this little video and hope you might try all the spices that I've used in my curry. Remember, it's your recipe, whatever spices you use. I've used 11 because I have it. You may have some of it or most of it or half of it. Try to have as much as you can because it's just an amalgamation of flavors. It's so nice. You can't buy this. This is authentic, making your own curry thing. Nothing like the yellow stuff you get at the market, which is your basic stuff. So, till next time, maybe I'll do something else. Have a good night.